Hi, friends. Welcome to our live broadcast. I am so excited to have on here a special guest, the infamous Rob Cressy, who is an amazing coach, amazing speaker, entrepreneur. I had the pleasure of having him on a podcast. And I just thought, you know what, I want to share it live to the world of everything that you have to talk about. You lead others to creating this life that you talk about, kind of designing your best life. And I thought it's such a good concept and such a good topic that a lot of people want to hear about, especially being kind of still early in the year, right? Even though it's never too late to get started. But you're the CEO owner of baconsports.com, which I think is really cool. It's a platform that you began out of a passion to kind of put a lighter, more humorous thing on sports, right? And wait till you guys hear his voice. He's got the sports announcer voice, and then that kind of led you into your passion for coaching and speaking and the entrepreneurship. So without further ado, I wanted you to kind of just do a quick little intro for everyone that has tuned in to listen.
Amanda, thank you so very much for having me. I love jamming with you. You've got this infectious energy that's fantastic. You inspire me when I follow you on social and seeing all the growth that you have in all areas of your life, the way that you lead by example with your team and the things that I see. You do so many things incredible on top of giving me this opportunity. So thank you very much.
Absolutely. I'm honored to have you here.
So a quick overview on me. I mean, I'm a creator, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a coach, and I'm a speaker. And I'm someone who lives a life by design, not by default. So when I look at why am I like this and how do I lead by example, it's because I know the gifts that I have received because I've lived different lives. There is the corporate life, Rob, where I did not wake up every day looking forward to slinging banner ads no matter how much money they gave me. And I always dreamed of working in sports and being a creator and creating the life of my dreams. And I said to myself, I would regret it for the rest of my life if I didn't give it a shot at making my dreams happen. And upon that moment, boom, I cut the cord, burned the boats, and went all in on building my life. And that's when two major things happened for me, Amanda. Number one, I became self-aware. And number two, I adopted a growth mindset. The self-awareness allowed me to realize that I'm in charge of every single aspect of my life. And then the growth mindset allowed me to say, I can make things better every single day, and I am not stuck in this position.
I love those. I mean, way to like hit a home run just straight out the gate. I think a lot of people listening now, right, especially in our industry, they're working full-time jobs and maybe they're thinking about getting into real estate full-time, or just anyone who can kind of relate to that philosophy. What was it that, what kind of mindset did you need to have to really make that transition? You said you just kind of overnight, you were like, let's just burn the boats, let's go for it. And a lot of people are teetering there. What sort of advice can you give them?
I love this because I literally just talked about this 2 hours ago, and it is the simplest thing in the world. And you know what? It actually comes down to just two things: the word change and the word commitment. So, Amanda, change is just a decision. So when you decide that you want to change something, so maybe it's, I want to leave this job and go into something else, or I want to get into real estate or create a side project or quit smoking or start getting my fitness in order. It all comes down to a single moment in which you say, I am done with this life and I am going to live in action doing this. Or you decide to step into something and say, this is who I am now. Either way, it is a single moment in which you go, boom, I am now this. And people think that it's like this big, heavy, magical, what do I have to figure out? No, you can give yourself this gift whenever you want. And when you realize you have the opportunity to give yourself the gift of change, I know for myself, I recently gave myself the gift of peace. I was on a coaching call where I was on the receiving end, and I was talking about how my mind never stops. For the last decade plus of being an entrepreneur, I was like, I never stop thinking about this all day, every day, and I don't want to keep thinking about this all the time. And my coach was like, Rob, as you continue to grow, your potential grows. So you are never going to stop thinking about this ever. So stop being a victim and just be at peace with that. And I was like, that makes complete sense. And I was like, let's look at the word peace for a second. Of all of the declarations that I use and the mantras and the things that I create for myself, somehow the word peace was not part of my vocabulary. So I'm like, wait a second, you're telling me that this is just a choice for myself? The story that I tell myself, that I don't have to look at myself as a victim, that I can just accept that it's okay that I'm always thinking about this and it's not good or bad? He's like, yeah. And I was like, well, wait a second. Can't I just be at peace with everything then? He's like, yeah.
Like mind blown. Yeah.
And I was like, all right. And then the new declaration got created. I am at peace with everything. And literally in 5 minutes, my life changed forever when I decided I'm letting go of the narrative that I'm a victim and I am always at peace with everything. And it was literally like an anvil got lifted off my chest, and I've been floating on clouds for a month.
I love this. I love that. And I love the fact that you use the word, you give yourself the gift of peace and you give yourself the gift of change and all of those things. Like just having that mindset is so important. And like just that semantics of the words, right? I'm giving myself this gift of peace moving forward is so huge. So that's big for entrepreneurs, right? Making that shift from wanting to control everything, have everything in a certain order. That definitely peace is never one of our vocabulary at all. So I love that you've made that decision and now you're kind of like shifting that. How does that tie into your designing this perfect life that you talk about all the time?
So it's definitely not perfect, but it's by design.
By design, yes.
Yes. So with me, it's like, I look at the beginning of my entrepreneurial journey when I started at zero, no clients, no relationships, no website, no nothing. I'm literally at zero. And I'm like, all right, what is going to help me accomplish my goals faster? Positivity or negativity? And it's like, well, positivity, of course. Negativity is actually going to take us further away from where we want to go, and it's going to slow down my process. So if that's the case, this became binary, a 1 or a 0. Negativity no longer served me, so therefore it is no longer in my life, and that's why I bring the energy that I do every single day. And when you understand that concept, just like the choice and the change, then you can say, well, wait a second. What are the other good things that I would like to have in my life? And the big game-changing thing for me that I've learned over the last 2 years is around self-cultivation in creating your being and who you are, which is also known as the story that you tell yourself every single day. So think about yourself like a computer. And for a computer to be a computer, it needs a boot sequence. I do these things and these programs open up and boom, I operate like a great computer. Well, the exact same thing is lifestyle design. You say, how do I want to show up every single day? Everybody listening and watching right now can say, I want peace. Boom, go ahead and take that. I want to be abundantly generous. Boom, go ahead and take that. I want to be infinite love. Go ahead and take that. So now you start to think about the emotions and the ways that you show up every single day, because that will dictate the lens that you see the world, your action, and then ultimately your results. So all of this becomes by design, because somebody who is full of infinite love, boom, what kind of action do you think they're going to take in the world? They're going to be, Amanda, that's going to be you. It's going to be a ray of positivity who does so much good for other people. And you're like, well, how does that help me in business or be better? Well, do you think being infinite love every single day and everything that you do would bring good things to you? I certainly do.
Yes, Absolutely. I preach this to my team all the time. We were just having a class about this on manifestation, the different laws in the universe around it. And if you want more love, right, give more love. If you want more peace, you've got to give more peace. And that stuff comes back in return. So, I know you and I are huge personal development fans. We dig deep into all the Tony Robbins and John Maxwell's and everything and constantly pouring it into our heads. But, I know for some of us listening, that they're not necessarily on that personal development train. Any words of advice you can give somebody on just where to start, to start shifting that mindset just a little bit?
So where you start is you just start. So let's not make this any bigger than what it is. How do you run a marathon? You take the first step. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So remember, I was not this person 12 years ago. This is over a decade in the making. So what did I do? I decided to audit the success habits of the most successful people in the world. And I said, all right, the people I want to do things like and be like, what are their habits, routines, and mindsets? What are they doing? And a simple thing started to happen, Amanda. The average CEO reads 60 books a year. And I'm like, crap, I'm reading 0. Think I want to get on that. All right, well, I don't have a reading routine. The common excuse is I don't have enough time. I don't have enough books. Insert whatever. But if something is important enough, you will find time to make it happen. So you have to ask yourself, how many times do you need to hear something before you're willing to take action? For me on meditation, it was about 35. For me in reading books, it was about 10. And finally, I was like, I can't take it anymore. I can't hear all of these people who are successful say do these things and then me not do them. So all I did was buy my first book, and it was probably something like Think or Grow Rich or Rich Dad, Poor Dad or something like that. And you just start getting it started. And this actually becomes the ultimate game changer for success, which people don't realize. Success is not this big grandiose thing. It's just a series of micro moments and micro decisions where you continually stack positive habits and growths and mindsets over and over and over and over and over and over again. And then 12 years later, you look and you're like, wow, I've actually done a few things in life.
Yes. I love that. I love that. One of the big things about, designing your life by design, you talk about on your website, even like your percentages of the time that you spend on certain things. I know that's a big topic of discussion in that. Can you share a little bit more on that for our listeners?
Yeah, and I've got to give credit to one of my mentors, Jesse Itzler, for teaching me this. He's got a program called Build Your Life Resume. And it essentially says, build your life before your business. So often we fill our calendars with meetings and Zoom calls and emails and work and all of this different stuff. But inevitably then at the end of the day, you're like, oh, Amanda, I just didn't have enough time to do X, Y, and Z. And now your life just becomes this perpetual hamster wheel of work. Well, what if instead you decided to say, well, let me stack all of the personal things that I want to do in my life, my health, my wealth, my love, my happiness, the achievement, the family, the dog, the sports, the whatever it is, the things that I'm going to remember. Because Amanda, you know what's not going to be on my tombstone? Rob wishes he would have sent more messages on Slack or more emails. 0% chance of that. Instead, you say, wait a second, why don't I live a life that I'm excited about? And once you say, all right, once again, choice, I'm all in on this. Now what? Now you start to design the things. All right, what's one thing I would like to do today? And from this, it just becomes design 101. So if there's one word that's a gift that I want to give you, it is intention. Be intentional about everything that you do. And most people only live in one bucket of their life. I just live in work, and then I come home and I'm so burned out that I can't do anything else. Well, guess what? Have various buckets of your life and then say, hey, what can I do to be a better husband or wife or boyfriend or girlfriend or dad or whatever it is? And then what can I do to be better on the fitness side of things? And then what could I do that gets me excited this week? One of the prompts that I have every single morning is what's something new I'm going to do today. And it's a series of questions and prompts and design. And it's not hard. It's super fun. And when you do things that are fun, that are growth oriented and positive, and then you're going to be more consistent with them, a crazy thing happens. You live an amazing life.
I love that. Tell me a little bit more about what does a morning routine look like for a guy like you, Rob?
So my morning routine is paramount to creating who I am and my success, because it's a very simple concept. How you start your day will dictate how the rest of it will go. So think about these two people. Person number one wakes up and immediately jumps on their phone, turns the TV on news, goes to social media, starts scrolling, checks email, and boom, they're off on their day. Or person number two who wakes up and says, today is going to be a great day. And then they brush their teeth and they say 3 things that they're thankful for. And then they go ahead and they read and they do some meditation and some gratitude and some journaling, and they invest in themselves first. Which of those 2 paths do you think would lead you to a better place?
Yes, I absolutely. Number 2, I know how crucial that morning routine is, right?
100%. So we understand this, but so many people are living by default. So I was actually describing what I do. And this is the simplest tip in the world. I love to give gifts because when I've learned something and experienced it, I want to give it to others. If you want to have a great day, Amanda, there's only one thing that you need to do that takes 1 second and $0.
What is it?
Every day, the first thing that I do when I wake up, I say to myself, today is going to be a great day. And why in the world do I do that? Because I've just set the positive intention. So over the course of the first hour or so, I'll say today is going to be a great day, and then I brush my teeth and I do gratitude. And then I walk the dog to go to the bathroom, and what do? I look up at the stars and I say today is going to be a great day. And then maybe 15 minutes later when I do my journaling, how do I start off? Today is going to be a great day. I do that for 10 minutes, and at the end, today is going to be a great day. And in the first hour of me being up, I probably say or write or speak, today is going to be a great day 5 times. Well, this has an extremely powerful effect, not only when you do it one day, but you do it for 10 years, every single day.
Yes, that is just manifestation at its finest, right? You're just manipulating it that today is going to be a great day regardless, writing it down, speaking it to the universe. And guys, it couldn't get more simple than that. And I think just having those little techniques like that in the morning and throughout your day, right? Just to continue to remind yourself that today is going to be an amazing day is such a great tool. So I know one big thing about you. You are so present and living in your values. You know, even on your website, you don't talk about yourself. You talk about your values, and you have them all written out. Tell us kind of how that came about and how you really truly are living those values every single day.
Much of what you hear from me is about who I am. And we all have the ability to create ourselves every single day. And there are things that are absolutes, that are principles to who I am. So I have a certain standard of excellence for everything that I do and how I show up. Very similar to you, Amanda. It is so transparent. Everything that I see from you is just the epitome of excellence. And that's a standard that we create for ourselves. And no one is going to hold me to a higher standard than I will myself. It is the ultimate accountability. So as it relates to the people who work with me or who listen to what I do or the people that I can help, what's important is knowing who I am. And you can certainly watch and listen to the various things that I do, but I like to be very intentional and overt about the things that create me who I am. And I'll briefly just say what my 8 core values are, because it'll really help understand the foundation of who I am and why I create myself that way. So, number 1, radiate positivity. Number 2, always learning. Number 3, extreme ownership. Number 4, this comes from improv, Yes, and I'm always building on top of things, not tearing down. Number 5, live in action. Boom, when you live in action, great things happen. Number 6, be relentless for the pursuit of what sets your soul on fire. Number 7, and I learned this one from my dad, it's so simple. Do what's right. When you have a choice of A or B, do the right one. And then number 8, talk with candor. I just want someone to talk to me the way that I would them. Sometimes that means difficult conversations, but guess what? We're all grown-ups, and Amanda, if you saw something in me that I wasn't doing correct, boom, I would want you to say something to me. So those are the 8 core values of how I show up every single day, which then manifests itself in my coaching business, in my content studio, and everything that I do. And it allows everyone to understand, hey, this is where Rob is coming from. And I don't have to worry about anything with him because I know exactly who he is.
Yes. Those are so simple and they're so great. And I can tell that you live those core values every single day and pour them into your coaching clients too. So, for somebody who, it's wild to me, to a lot of people who have not defined their core values, right? Who make a lot of decisions to just kind of go through the day and don't really think, is this in alignment with my core values? Because they don't actually know them. How did you build on yours? Was it just a day you sat down and you were like, these are the top ones I want? How could you give somebody some sort of advice to kind of work towards that?
Everything with me, a work in progress. I did not pop out like this. I'm actually the opposite of this. I am a former work hard, play hard fraternity bro. So I did not pop out like this. Let's just say this. So once again, success leaves breadcrumbs. So I'm part of an entrepreneurial group called the Arete Syndicate, which is led by Andy Frisella and Ed Milet, which is the greatest entrepreneurial force for good in the world. And I've been a part of this for several years since the beginning. And right away, they instilled the core values of Arete and the importance of setting core values in your business and in yourself. And they went over it 2 or 3 or 4 times in the course of several years. And it was like light bulb, Rob, success leaves breadcrumbs. And they're always saying, write down your core values, write down your core values. And until I wrote them down, I knew them, but I couldn't spout them off like I did. So all I did was say, all right, step 1, give myself 30 minutes. Let's just be intentional about this time. No distractions. And just write down, all right, what is core to who I am? And this is also sort of a creator lesson. Don't bring in your editor brain. So step 1, just start writing down or brainstorming a stream of consciousness. What are the characteristics, the traits, the values that are part of who you are? So if someone's like, Amanda, tell me, who are you? What is so important? What is a non-negotiable for you? Where you're like, I show up as this every single day. And then you create that list, and then you prune and you refine it, and you sit there and you feel into the emotion of it. And each one of them has a reason for it. So do what's right. Why is that? Every day when I was a kid, right before I would leave to go ride my bike, my dad would be like, hey, son, do what's right. So literally I heard that a bajillion times. Well, it was incredible because honesty is part of who I am right now. So therefore, do what's right. I live this and I feel this. So I'm not making this up to try and be something. So yes, and well, where'd that come from? I studied improv and comedy writing for 4 years in Chicago. This is foundational to building on others' ideas. Radiate positivity. I told you, boom. Positivity versus negativity. So you create your reason why you are this, and then you live this, and then you create a document so that others can see this because it's great for you, but then it inspires others.
I love those. Again, so simple. And, a lot of times we don't think about sitting down and writing our core values, but when you write them and you write them over and over again, and my coach has an exercise where you think about the 3 people that you admire the most. And then you think about the 3 qualities in them and why you admire them. And like, ultimately it kind of comes back, and those are your core values. Those are truly what you want to live by, and what you emulate is the people that you look up to and your mentors and things like that. So it's kind of like the simplest way to go back and really write those out. And you said it perfect. It is a work in progress, right? Sometimes we switch them out. We we make them fluffier, we make them better. But I think just defining those core values is such an important tool.
Yeah, remember, 1 is always greater than 0. So even if it's not perfect for you, hey, let's get version 1.0. Welcome to anyone who's ever written copy for a website before. It takes a ton of time, and you're like, is this headline correct? Are my bullet points correct? Am I accurately saying my value proposition and all of this different stuff? Hey, let's slow down. And Amanda, I think there's a narrative that we continually keep hitting on that I want to make sure we point out. And it is one word: simple. Everything that we are talking about, simple. Anyone can do it, because if I can do it, certainly anybody can do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I want to talk a little bit about your shift when you started Bacon Sports. You started this from scratch, right? You had no sort of speaking experience, no sort of broadcasting. And I just think the story is just so cool how you just decided to spin this humor on sports broadcasting. I want you to share a little bit about that with the group.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, my dream was to always work in sports and be creative. And my path for the first 10 years of my life was the opposite of that. I was Peter from Office Space, clocking in 7 minutes late, leaving 7 minutes early, living for the weekends, hating what I was doing every single day. And I just sat there and I would just watch Sports Center and I would see the sports blogs. And I was like, man, I know I am as good or better than everything that I'm seeing, because I always would write and create. I would create my own sports blogs myself. I taught myself HTML and websites and all of these things. And I got paid $0 over a course of 10 years to write about sports. I wrote it for myself. I would write it for anyone who would give me the opportunity. I would do it for free just because I loved doing it, until I got to the point where I said, I got to know. I'll regret it forever. And someone gave me a quote that absolutely changed my life. And he said, Rob, if you ever hope to get paid to do what you love, you better be doing it already. And I was like, I want to get paid to talk about sports for a living. So how do you do that? Well, you should probably create a podcast, learn hosting, learn how to be on video, learn social media marketing, branding, community building, events, apparel, everything. So I'm like, all right, boom, I adopted my growth mindset and I don't know how to do any of this. So everything I know how to do today that I get paid for from clients and brands, no idea how to do any of this. So 30 minutes a day, every single day, into perpetuity, I learned something new. So it's like, how do you learn Photoshop? Well, I got a subscription to lynda.com or YouTube, and every day for 30 minutes as part of my morning routine, I'm learning something. I'm just watching videos, taking notes, implementing it day by day by day, just chopping that tree down, chopping that tree down, chopping that tree down. And I turned myself into my first client. So over the course of the first 3 years, we created thousands of articles and videos and podcasts and social media marketing and built a community. But the challenge was, how in the world do you monetize a publisher website when you're not on an advertising-based model? Remember, I came from that world selling advertising, and I knew it was the wrong way to do it. So I'm just sitting there and I'm like, man, who does not need to make money from banner advertising? And then a light bulb went off and I was like, brands. Brands need someone to help them market to their target audience. And who better to help a brand market to sports fans than the exact demographic that they're looking to market to? Me. Of course I know what's good to market to, because I'm on the receiving end of all of this. And just like that, we went from no clients to, we've got a client that we've been doing for the last 3 years, and here's all of what we've created. And literally that became a springboard for turning Bacon Sports into a sports publisher, into a sports content studio, to where now we were creating marketing and content campaigns for major brands. And I was hired as a host for video shows and podcasts, from sports betting to fantasy sports to, we threw a 700-person event called the Bacon Sports and Beer Celebration. And we had Topgolf and Uber and 20 beer brands. It's just all over the place. And it was all by number one, this was my dream. And then number two, day after day, showing up and chopping down that tree.
Yeah. So we go back to that simple, right? You said just 30 minutes a day, learning something new has got you to this point. And now you're taking your passion and you finding your passion and pouring it into coaching and speaking and mentoring. So tell me a little bit about that and how you have now shifted to that kind of realm.
So life can be funny sometimes. Pandemic hits, and Amanda, never in my life did I think that I would wake up one day and sports didn't exist.
Yeah.
But guess what? March of 2020, I woke up and I'm so ready for March Madness. It's my favorite time of the year. I've got Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday blocked off in my calendar. And I'm like, yes, it is coming. And then all of a sudden, March Madness is shut down. The world of sports is shut down. And all of a sudden I said, holy crap, I have a blind spot in my business. I didn't think it was possible, but sports doesn't exist right now. So now you have a choice. Are you going to be like the rest of the industry where the people who had jobs, not only are they laid off, but those jobs no longer exist? Brands are no longer investing in their marketing, in content. They're laying people off because games don't exist, marketing doesn't exist. And I was like, whoa, did not see this coming. So what are you going to do? The majority of the world is going to cower and say, woe is me, and go in the other direction, but not me. I decided to use this as an opportunity to triple down on my brand and myself. So a beautiful thing happened. Because of who I am and how I live my life, I was hired as a personal growth and development and high performance coach for an ad agency in New York who said, Rob, we want you to help make our employees better at business by making them better at life. So essentially this conversation that we've had, more structured, how, boom, let's help you guys become higher performers. But I never had a website for that. I didn't have an offer. It just sort of came to me. And that happened once or twice. And then I also had a few clients outside of the world of sports on the podcasting and brand building side of things. So I sat there and I was like, well, I should probably just create robcressy.com as a destination to help people with personal growth and development and self-mastery in creating anything they want in their life, whether it's on the marketing and the brand building side or on the internal side, how I can show up and get freedom and be happier and fulfill my potential. So literally since that moment, which I think has been almost 2 years now, I've built out the website, I've built out my coaching business, I've built out the landing pages and the modules and the content. So now it's no longer Rob the sports guy, it is Rob the creating coach, where I help people create whatever it is that they want to create in their life, because the beauty about lifestyle by design is everybody designs their own. Just because I started in sports and now I'm doing coaching doesn't mean that you can't do something that has nothing to do with that. I love teaching the process and helping support people to unlock those new potentials, like those aha moments that change your life. And for me, it's the greatest thing in the world, because my purpose is to be a positive force for good that leads others to what's possible.
Definitely. What an amazing message. And we just go back to, again, things being so simple and him being able to find his passion through all of this, self-taught. I think you have such an incredible story, and new dad too, right? Congratulations. How is that going?
So I've been asked that question. One, it's amazing, but two, I say it's very similar to entrepreneurship. Every day is a blessing and an opportunity with an equal amount of challenges.
Absolutely. Well, I definitely want to leave it on that. I think you have hit some amazing points on the head. You know, finding those values, being consistent, keeping it simple, right? Being intentional, all these things we hear all the time. but maybe you just need to hear it for that 35th time from Rob Cressy, right? And that we can make that change and really get into that growth mindset. So I appreciate all you do. So tell everybody that's listening how they can reach out to you, any programs that you help entrepreneurs with, or anything to kind of really get them shift them out of that mindset and into intention.
Yeah, so I created an 8-week personal growth program called I Am Great that is a roadmap to freedom, self-creation, and creating the life that you love. And it is one part teaching and content, one part group coaching experience with a flipped classroom. So it's like, hey, introducing some of these concepts. Here's how to do it. Go and live this. Now let's talk on coaching calls about how you can experience that for yourself. And Amanda, when I thought about the name of this, of I Am Great, it could just be Rob's Awesome Program, but that doesn't serve anyone. And I am so big into declarations and creating who you are. And if every single time someone saw I am great, it was a drip for them to say, I am great. I am great. I am great. And this becomes a lifestyle, a mindset, and a way of being and showing up in the world where we want to create that process and roadmap for you to be great, because I show up great every day. Amanda, you show up great every day. And I want to help people do that same thing. So you can go to robcressy.com/coaching. Hit me up on all social platforms at Rob Cressy, or you can even email me, rob@robcressy.com. And Amanda, there's a crazy thing that happens. When people hit me up, I respond back to them. I know.
Incredible.
It's crazy. Some would actually respond, but I say this because there is a silent majority and a vocal minority. Be the person who is in the minority that says, what Rob is talking about resonates with me. I'm here to help you no matter what. Whether you're in my program, you want good vibes, or you want to learn from all of the free stuff that I do, I am here to help. robcressy.com.
Absolutely. You guys heard it from him. And, he's living his passion. He's living that best life. New dad, congratulations again. I feel so fortunate to have you on this. You are just true epitome of somebody who is self-taught, who is self-made, who has found their passion and can really, truly influence others to do the same. So thank you so much. And thank you guys for listening. Just remember, like Rob said, you are great and you are going to have an amazing day. So remind yourself that every single day. Thank you guys.